Hi everybody, Sherry here with Osborne Ranch Soap Company. Today's project I'm going to be working on Milk and Honey Shampoo Bars. I have measured all of my oils up, and this project includes shea butter to make the shampoo, and shea butter is pretty solid, so I had to melt that down, and I heated up all of my soft oils and combine the melted shea butter in, so that's all ready to go. I've got my goat milk measured out, and I'm gonna go ahead and measure out my lye and mix up my goat milk and lye, and then I'll be back. All right, I've combined my goat milk and my lye, and I'm getting my safety equipment back on, and we're gonna go ahead and combine our milk lye solution in our oils. Okay. Let me get this spoon out and go ahead and just rinse it real quick and get it down in the sink. All right, so I'm going to slowly pour the lye goat milk solution into my oils. I want to be very careful that it's not splashing back up. It's very caustic and it would be very easy to burn your skin. You should always wear good eye protection whenever you're making soap. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this out. Get this put down in the sink. And I'm gonna get my stick blender and go ahead and start blending. Stick that down in there and kind of burp the air bubbles out. I'm going to pulsate it. I'm stirring as I go. I'm going to pulsate this until I get to a light trace. And then I'll add my fragrance oil and my honey in. This is a similar fragrance that I use for my oatmeal milk and honey bars. But this one I don't put oatmeal in. This one's a shampoo bar. And I just don't think bits of oatmeal will be fun to try to rinse out of your hair. So I don't put any oatmeal in this one. I do use the same fragrance oil, and I do put honey in it. And this is a combination of oils that I use for my shampoo bars. So it's not the same combination of oils that I use for my body bars, hand and body soap. We're soaping at a very low temperature today. We're at 87 right now. So this may take a little bit longer to get to trace. And we just want a light trace. The honey will burn also inside soap. It accelerates it, makes the heat go up, and we don't want the milk to get burnt. So this recipe we are going to put in the refrigerator, just like all of our soap, goat milk soap recipes, just to keep it cooler We don't want it to go through the gel process. Okay, so I'm going to keep stick blending until I get to a light trace. Looks like I'm almost there. And trace is when you lift a little bit of the batter out and run it across, and you can see a little trace running behind it. It kind of holds on the top of your batter. Okay, when I get to a very light trace, that's when I'll add my fragrance oil in. Okay, I'm at light trace now, so I'm going to go ahead and add my fragrance oil in and stir it in, and I'll go ahead and add my honey in, and then we'll stick blend again. I do like to take the motor off the shank on the stick blender, just because if you leave that on there and you're moving your arms around and stuff trying to get your fragrance oil in and your honey in, you have a good chance that you could flip that over and that batter could just splatter right up on you. And safety is always the number one thing when you're working with lye. So you want to be very careful that you don't splatter this on you. You always want to wear eye protection, good gloves, closed-toed shoes. All right, I'm getting this stirred in real good. I'm gonna go ahead and add my honey to this. This particular recipe will make 24 shampoo bars. All right, I don't add a lot of honey. I add about a tablespoon. A little bit of honey goes a long way. This is local honey. It's raw, whole, local honey. I don't like to get the honey out of the store because a lot of times it's being shipped in and it's not local honey, and sometimes it also is being cut with sugars or sweeteners or something else, and it's not 100% honey. All right, so I've got that stirred in pretty good. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stick blend just to make sure this is combined super good. So we'll go ahead and stick the shaft back on the motor. Just make sure this gets combined really well before we start dumping it in the molds. I do want to kind of work a little bit quick because the temperature will start going back up. And I don't want milk to burn, and the honey will also help the temperature go up. So we want to get this in the molds and get it in the refrigerator to keep that temperature down. I don't want to burn our soap. All right, so we have really getting to a thick trace. You want it kind of the consistency of pudding. Putting it in the molds, you don't want to get too far past that. If you get to where it's lumpy potatoes, you can still force it into the mold, but it's not going to be as nice. All right, so we are right where we need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and get the stick blender out of here. I do like to scrape down my stick blender. Get all that soap batter off there. And scrape it all down. All right, so we'll get the molds over here and start this going. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just fill each cavity. Try to get them filled to the top. This makes a nice creamy shampoo. Most of my shampoos, I don't use goat milk with them. I use distilled water to make them. This is a milk and honey recipe, so of course it does have milk in it and honey. All right, so the first one is filled. Go ahead and scrape my sides down. I'm going to pull my second mold up here. Go ahead and get it filled. You have to work a little bit quick. You don't want this to set up on you, because then it's hard to get in these little cavities. It's a little bit set up and you're pouring in a big loaf mold, that would not be so bad because you can really just push it on down in there. But these little molds, you want to make sure it gets in each mold. You don't want it chunky trying to get in there. So I'm trying to be a little bit fast about pouring it. This fragrance oil is really nice. It's got a great milk and honey fragrance. It smells kind of like warm oatmeal. All right, I had a little bit left over, so I'm scraping that into some of these that look like they could be just a tiny bit fuller. All right, now that I've got my molds all filled, kind of shake them a little bit. This one's a little gobbed up. I'll go ahead and spray the tops of these with 99% alcohol, and this will make sure that I don't get any soda ash coming up on them. So I'll spray each one of them a couple of spritz with alcohol, and then I'll go ahead and pop these in the refrigerator so they don't overheat, and then we'll unmold them tomorrow or the next day. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day.